I was working on my next video regarding the vertical versus horizontal GPU featuring these Noctua fans, and then I noticed this. This is 12-volt high-power cable designed by Corsair. As we can notice here, it definitely shows some kind of overheating signs with these brown cables over there, and gladly my GPU wasn't damaged because of this. I have to be completely honest, I wasn't even noticing this until I was working on my next video, so my GPU was definitely working just fine, at least up until now. I reached out to Corsair support to see how they can help me with this one, and they were kind enough to send me a replacement, although my cable was out of warranty because these cables have just a couple of years of warranty. And this was kind of alarming situation for me as well, because I don't even want to think about what should I do had it damaged my almost 4,000 euros graphics card, which I actually paid with my own money. And not only that, but their availability at the moment is basically non-existent, at least here in Finland, so who knows how long it will take to basically resolve that situation. I think one of the reasons is that my GPU was undervolted actually, because on load it consumes maybe up to somewhere around 500 watts only, because otherwise this cable might actually melt had I used that full 600 watts what was specified for this MSI Ventus graphics card. After experiencing this thing, I have to admit at this point that I do not trust these 12-volt high-power adapters at any level from now on, regardless of who is actually making them and how premium they tend to be. DivKid has done a very good video regarding this analysis around these cables, so if you are interested into more details, I recommend you to go and check out his video. But long story short, I think the problem with this connector is simply that these pins within this connector are not properly connecting between each other, which means that the ones which are connected at the moment need to carry that extra current compared to the shared one had every single pin be connected properly. And that also explains the situation that the more you unplug and plug this connector back and forth, the bigger risk you have. This connector is fundamentally bad. I mean, no cable, no application, no power supply, no any kind of additional device can save it from being bad. The only kind of solution would be just to basically go and redesign this connector as a whole. Because of that, I just wanted to kind of play safe, and from now on my clear recommendation is just to go and pick modern power supply featuring ATX 3.1 standard, which means that I would personally use just the original cables which are coming with the power supply itself. And one reason why I think that it's a safer bet, if I can express it in that way, is that these power supplies are usually tested much more thoroughly, because we can notice that even only by comparing the warranties, where these adapter cables are having like barely a couple of years of warranty, where quality power supplies like this Corsair or Be Quiet are having up to 10 years of warranty. And I personally don't think that any company would actually commit themselves for 10 years had they think that their product is not actually good enough and it won't last up to 10 years. So on this video I wanted to show you a couple of different power supplies, and not only that, but I will also share the link in the description of this video where you can navigate what kind of models you should or could consider and which models you should avoid at any cost. First power supply here is Corsair HX1200i, and this is a platinum efficiency power supply. I think this is one of the best available power supply at this moment. And yeah, I was criticizing Corsair adapter cable, and now I'm recommending their power supply. Well, this power supply is absolutely one of the best when it comes to power quality, and also 10 years of warranty. And as a special feature, it also includes this USB-C port where you can connect it to your motherboard, and you have a little bit more control with this power supply, meaning that you can also control the fan curve of this power supply's fan. So you can set it, for example, that it stays in 0 dB mode everything up to maybe 50 or 60 degrees Celsius, and after that you can spin up the fan depending on your needs and likings. Another feature is that you can change on the fly whether this power supply is in single rail mode or multi-rail. I'm sure many of us would argue that single rail is the way to go, but at least you have this option to choose from. 1200 watts might sound a lot as of now, but considering that most of us are actually buying these power supplies for years to come, I would still rather prefer to have a little bit of headroom, for example, for modern graphics card, because we have already seen that the graphics card can consume even over 600 watts of power. So in that case, having that extra room might actually be a safer bet. One thing though to add on this power supply is that the first unit I have received had probably the worst coil whine I have ever heard in my 30 years of experience with this PC hardware. It was very bad, and it wasn't actually, should I say, yelling all the time, but rather when I launched the game or run some CPU intensive applications. So that means that whenever I was generating some extra load on this power supply, it started to have some very bad coil whine. I reached out to Corsair support once again to ask them for a replacement, and they were kind enough to send me a replacement before I was even prepared to pack the old one and send back to them. I really have to give a huge credit to Corsair for this. I'm not sure was I just lucky enough with this case or not, but that's definitely something I wanted to bring up. Another power supply here, I have Be Quiet Dark Power Pro 13, which is one of the best power supplies on the market for a couple of years already. This power supply has a titanium efficiency, and as you can notice, 1600 watts of power is definitely something what is not for everyone. Not only that, but this power supply has a price tag of approximately 500 euros here in Finland, and that's something which is extremely hard to recommend for everyone. I'm sure that many of you will be totally fine with less wattage compared to what this power supply has to offer. So this model was designed mostly for extreme overclockers and some enthusiasts who want like best of the best, no matter the price tag. This power supply also has a 12 volt high power connector on the power supply side as well. Interestingly, this power supply also has a physical button or switch where you can switch between the single rail and multi-rail. I personally feel kind of nervous having this kind of switch around my PC because I wouldn't like to accidentally flip it while my PC is running. So instead of that, I'm using this original jumper where I can set it in a single rail. The only complaint I have about this power supply is that it does not support 0 dB mode with its fan, and that's something which is a shame because I'm sure that this power supply is powerful enough to power the PC without actually need to spin the fan all the time. The fan is definitely very silent, but if you are sitting in a completely silent room, then you can definitely hear it. Whether it's too loud or not for some of you, that's something that you should experiment for yourself. So guys, gladly my GPU has survived, and in my next video I'll be comparing vertical against the horizontal position of this GPU featuring these Noctua fans. So if that's something you might be interested in, I'll be more than happy to have you around. My name is Leo, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.